Hey guys, what's up? Aaron or Daybreak here, and today I'll be doing a beginner's guide to Veteran Maelstrom Arena. Now we're going to be covering a few things. We're going over the requirements and what I think you need to do before you jump into VMA, your abilities and some skills that are very, very useful in VMA and that you want to morph or get before you go in, strategies, some rough cut builds that are very good but that can be improved or changed to fit your playstyle, and the VMA philosophy. Now, we'll just jump right into it. This might be a long video, but I encourage you to stick around, share this with your buddies or anybody else that's just now getting into this game, because Maelstrom Arena is a lot of people have to do it for their builds, and even more have to do it for, well, just their builds. Obviously, I mean, there's not. I was trying to think of something there, but nothing really. But yeah, listen to me in the background. I've also got some Stam DK gameplay going on. I think this is 5 Black Rose, 3 Agility, 2 Blood Spawn, and 2 more Colden on the Sword and Shield, and it's also a Maelstrom Battle Axe, I think. Or no, maybe just a Sharpened Maul. But that's the build in case you guys wanted to know. The requirements for VMA, in my opinion, you're going to need to be about CP 300. That's what the mobs are scaled to, so you're going to be on par with the mobs. Anything lower than that, it's going to be extremely hard for you to do it, and anything above that, it's going to be a little bit easier. So around CP 300, you're going to look to do Maelstrom. I do not recommend doing it at anything below. I think I did my first run on like 320 or something like that, and it's still extremely hard, and I was about to rip my fucking hair out. So even then, it was very, very hard. You're also going to need to have some decent gear. You don't want to just run in with whatever the hell you've got on from fuck all. You want to have some decent sets. Sets like Vicious Ophidian, Viper. This is Stam, by the way. I'll cover some Magica stuff, but Stam, Viper, Vicious Ophidian, some monster helms like Velodreth, stuff along those natures. You want to have some decent gear. Like, you don't want to just have any run-of-the-mill piece of shit. No blue or green gear. You want to have all purple plus to get the most and get the easiest runs in that you can, because Maelstrom is not easy and you will hate yourself by the time you get out of it, especially your first try. Now, for Magica, you're going to want maybe some crafted sets, some decently crafted sets like Giuliano, Seducer, maybe Lich. I don't really know what Magica-based people run in there, but that's just some pieces. Maybe even Infallible Aether. All that stuff's pretty damn good. Now, another requirement is, if you didn't know, you need the Rothgard DLC to do this, so you need Orsinium. But I'm assuming that you're watching this video and you already know that, so I'm not really going to cover into that too much. Now, the abilities and skills portion of this video, I'm going to go over. That's all I can think of about the requirements, but you need to be pretty decent. Like, you need to be able to pull some decent DPS. Okay, so if you run any trials or dungeons on PC, you get a damage meter and stuff like that, and you may be able to on console as well. I don't follow the console scene, so I have no idea. But in my opinion, to do Maelstrom Arena efficiently and without using power-ups all the time and all that good stuff, which using power-ups is fine, don't get me wrong, especially your first few runs, or if you're just wanting to get runs in easily, power-ups, great, use them all the time, whatever. But if you want to have an easy time, you need to be pulling about 20 to 25k DPS with your build in a trials group or a dungeon group. That's pretty damn good. That's optimal, and it'll make your runs a lot easier and smoother if you can get that much DPS. Now, the abilities and skills. Now, your abilities and skills are going to rely on well, they're going to be a lot different compared to other setups you're going to be doing. Because with VMA, you're going to have a lot of self-heals. So that's going to mean like Bloodthirst, the Morph of Flurry, and the dual wield skill line. And by the way, most of the times you're going to be using dual wield. Okay, actually, let's jump into that too, by the way, before we go into the skills, really. All stand builds really just use dual wield and a bow. That is the go-to. That's king, cream of the crop. That is the best thing to go to. For Magica base, it's either staffs or dual wield swords. Dual wield swords for the overload procs, whatever, the overload and get the 5% extra damage or whatever. That's what it's all about. Dual wield and staff, wrestle staff or whatever. But now for Stam, I can tell you for Stam for sure, it is dual wield and bow. Do not go two-handed. It's going to be some weird-ass build you've got to do. Don't go two-handed. Now, as far as abilities go, you're going to take the morphs, everything. Let's say you're running dual wield. You want to take the morphs of healing. So, like, you realize that instead of, I forget what the other morph of flurry is called, but it's going to be bloodthirst is the one you want to take. So you want to take that healing morph. You want to take blood craze instead of rending slashes, I think. Anything that gives you healing, because you'll realize very quick in VMA that without healing, you will die very fucking quickly. So you need to get yourself some self heals along the lines of like bloodthirst, blood craze. Those are dual wield abilities. Power surge from, is it power surge or is it crit surge? I think it's crit surge. No, it'll be power surge for sorcerers, because they've got you get major sorcery from that. So power surge and healing ward as well. That's also pretty damn good. You can also slot something like combat prayer or something like that, but I wouldn't recommend it. So get all the healing morphs that you can. Another good ability to go along with stam-based classes is going to be the Vigor morph. It's going to be morphed into resolving Vigor. It makes it stronger on you. So Vigor is a really, really good ability, actually. It scales, it can crit, it heals you for a boatload to begin with. On top of it, it can crit, and its ticks are pretty damn fast. So it's all around pretty damn good. And it can be animation canceled, and the animation is really, really fluid, and like it goes really well with about anything. So, with that being said, another top thing you need to learn about your abilities or whatever is you need to get decent champion points setups. A lot of times in VMA, now this is going back to champion or the different build type ratio or the aspect type thing, whatever. Your builds are not going to be the same for, like, let's say dungeons or trials or whatever. They might be, but it's very rare. In VMA CP setups, you're going to need some self-healing buffs, or like going into the one in the red tree. I think it's quick recovery and getting some like Elfborn, or no, I think it's blessed. Going into blessed and quick recovery is very, very good for all builds, because it gives you some extra healing, and if you see like something coming in that's going to kill you, you might be able to heal up enough right before it happens, because the name of the game in Veteran Maelstrom Arena is speed. No matter what anybody else says, it's just speed. It's flat out speed. Now, it's damage and speed, and as fast as you can get it done, that's how much easier it's going to be. If you can kill stuff before other things spawn, it's going to be that much easier. So the name of the game in Maelstrom Arena is resource management and speed. That's it. Damage, you should have damage. If you can get the speed part down, you'll have damage, because that's the only way you can get the speed part down. Strategies for Maelstrom Arena are go along the lines of a few things, along the lines of having AoE on your bar, having some single target on your bar, have a mix of everything. The Maelstrom Arena mobs are weak, but they don't hit weak. Like, their health bars will be depleted pretty damn quickly. They're not very resistant to crits and everything like that, but you are going to want to be wary of their damage, because they do fucking hurt a lot. I mean, a lot. Now, as far as strategies go, there's a few different strategies, but one I always like to use on all builds is having, you'll notice in Maelstrom Arena, there's going to be like portals that open up right before the mobs spawn. Now, you can use this to your advantage by placing AoE, like Arrow Hell, Caltrops, Trap Beast for sure, because it's going to immobilize them or whatever. And effects like, well, I'll get into that in just 1 second, but even stuff like Liquid Lightning and Wall of Elements. Place those down, and while that's sitting there ticking, they'll spawn in, they'll start taking the damage, and you can be hitting something else. So you kill two birds with one stone. Instead of you just hitting one mob, you're going to be able to kill two in the time that it would usually take you to kill one. So that's also a very good strategy for VMA. Now, there's another thing I just want to tell you guys. You can actually debuff the mobs before they even spawn in. So if they're in the portals or whatever, you can throw down a Trap Beast, you can throw down a Noxious Breath or whatever, and it'll say like immobilized, or you can see that it'll be ticking on them for Noxious Breath, and the Major Fracture, I think, Major Fracture will be applied to them. So that, you can use that to your advantage as well. If it's a boss round, you can go ahead and debuff the boss before it even spawns and just burn them down about instantly. Or get your major, minor force up? You can get that up as well. Some decent builds, whatever, for Maelstrom Arena. I'm just going to go rough builds. Now, you can use these and they'll do just fine, but you can also get more specialized builds to cater to your playstyle, or different builds if you don't have the items that are required for this. There's two builds that are king in VMA right now for stand base. Now, I'm not going to be able to tell you the best builds for Magica because I don't really run Magica a lot. You can check out my build on YouTube right now that has the build for Sorcerer. It's okay, but it doesn't kill stuff as nearly as fast as Stam does. But in my opinion, Stam is much faster to begin with because it's in a much better spot this meta. For Stam builds, the two king setups are 5 Twiceborn Star, all Divines. Now, by the way, in VMA and any PvE, you want all Divines to begin with. Don't go anything else really. All Divines is great. Infused is okay, but all Divines and your weapons should be sharpened and precise, or precise. Like if you have 2 VMA weapons, you can go like sharpen and precise on one of them. But honestly, dual sharpened daggers or whatever for like dual wield, and a sharpened bow or even a powered bow is pretty great. All those are great. What else can we say here? Oh yeah, my bad. I'll get back to the builds. Sorry. 5 Twiceborn Star, 5 Vicious Ophidian, and 2 Maelstrom weapons. Those are pretty damn good. Or just any 2 sharpened daggers, like 2 of Hunting's Rage, 2 of Druid Kingslayer. If you can get those, if you have those laying around for whatever reason, you get my drift. Now the other set, which is a lot easier to acquire, well, minus the VO, but it's a lot easier to acquire besides the Maelstrom weapons, because you're probably not going to have Maelstrom weapons if you're watching this. So I'll tell you the best Stam build in my opinion, and this works on Stam Sork, Stam everything. It is 5 Hunting's Rage, 5 Vicious Ophidian, and 2 Veladreth. Yeah. And this works extremely well. It kills everything super fucking quick, and it just absolutely dumpsters everything in Maelstrom Arena. The next bit of advice I can give you, and now we're moving on to the philosophy section of this video. I just want to give you guys some wise words before I left. But the biggest thing, especially for stand builds and Magica builds, is being able to survive long fights, or not really long fights, but being able to survive. You kind of need like a ward on your front bar, especially for Magica builds, and like crit surge should always be up as well, especially for a sorcerer build. So make sure you have a ward on your front bar. Now for Stam builds, if you're not a Stam Sorcerer, you're not going to have Crit Surge. But if you're Stam Sorc, Crit Surge should keep you up, or Power Surge, or whatever it is. I'm not sure which morph it is. But if you're a Stam Sorc, you should have Surge or whatever, and that should keep you up. Use the morph that increases the healing, and it should keep you up. In certain rounds, like round 2, I think, and rounds... I think it's the spider one or whatever, I'm not sure. You can use Vigor on the front bar and it'll be really good too. You'll get the double healing, you'll never die. As far as DK builds and all other Stam builds like Stam Nightblade, you're going to want to have Vigor somewhere on your front bar. Just so you can keep that healing constantly up, because you're going to be constantly taking damage and you've got to constantly heal it back up. Or you're just not going to be able to survive. That's just the name of the game, that's how it is. For Stam builds, for Magica builds though, Healing Ward on a back bar, something like that, and running Crit Surge should be fine. Now I would give you guys some Templar builds, but I've never ran Templar in my life. I actually have one, but he's a healer, so I don't really play him that much in VMA. Actually, I've never done it, and that's because he's a healer. So now the last thing I can leave you guys with is a few words of encouragement. VMA, you guys, this is my philosophy section, by the way. VMA, Veteran Maelstrom Arena, is the hardest solo PvE content in this game. It doesn't get any harder than VMA. The only thing that's harder than VMA is probably Trials, Veteran Trials, and even then, it's not harder solo. VMA is probably the hardest thing in this game. And if you can beat VMA, you can list yourself along some really good players. If you can beat VMA, that shows that you're not your average run-of-the-mill DPS. That means that, you're not the greatest ever, but you're definitely pretty damn good. VMA is going to seem like it's impossible your first time, and it definitely did for me. Like, I died probably 200 plus times, and I never I didn't do it in one set, or I did do it in one sitting. It took me over, I think it was like 10 hours. I think it took me. I mean, I got my ass fucking pounded. Like it was pretty bad. Um, but going to VMA, don't expect to stomp it the first time because you just won't. No one does, and no one will stomp it the first time. Now, you've gotta be in the right mindset. You can't just go in there thinking you're gonna stomp shit like I just said, because you're just not going to. It doesn't happen, and you gotta be ready to learn. The VMA is all about speed, like I said, but with speed, you're gonna have to learn some. And if you're not gonna learn it, if you don't want to learn anything about it, then just don't do Maelstrom Arena. Last thing is don't get discouraged. I know it's easy to say now, and it's it's hard as fuck to believe that whenever you're about 30 deaths in one round, and you don't even know what the next round's gonna hold. But I can assure you that it does. Once you beat it, there's no feeling like it in this game. This game will not give you any other feeling like beating Maelstrom Arena the first time around. The first time you beat it and you get to open up that chest or whatever, and you get to see that polymorph, and you get that title, there's no other feeling like it, boys. I'm telling you this right now. There's no fucking feeling like it. Now, that's about all I've got to say about it. Just don't give up. Your first few times, your first 3 or 4 times, it may be hard as fuck. Your first time, it's going to be atrocious. You're not even going to want to tell anybody you did it because it's going to be fucking abominable, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be fucking ass. Like, it's going to be embarrassing. And it is for everyone. Your first few times will be. But once you get used to it, you'll learn to love it. I mean, honestly, my first few times, here's what I told you. Here's what I said anyways. I didn't tell you guys, but here's what I said. I was like, alright, if I do ever do this, I'm never coming back. I'm getting whatever weapon it gives me, and I'm done. I'm never coming back. 1 week later, I've done 8 more runs. So, take it for what you will, guys. This is just my take on Maelstrom Arena. I'm trying to give you guys some of my knowledge, some of my strategies and stuff like that. And hopefully this helped you out. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will either answer your questions, or you can message me in-game at the Sonin on PCNA, or mail me in-game. That will be the best way to reach me or contact me. Well, besides YouTube, and I'll get you guys get your questions answered, and maybe you can answer other people's questions. Leave your builds and all your strategies and tips in the comment section below too, if you're feeling generous and want to help out some other players. But that's about it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. This has been the Sonin. Peace, Slate. Take care. Take it easy. I'm out.